Now, before we begin, I would like to lay out the rules for this debate. Every candidate will have the opportunity to answer each question, but your response should be no longer than 1 minute. If Chauncey or I come to you for a rebuttal, you have exactly 30 seconds to answer. With that business said,
we want to introduce all of our candidates for being here with us tonight. From my left to right, we're going to start with Councilman Dwight Boykins,
Thank you.
Bill King, Mayor Sylvester Turner, Sue Lovell, and Mr. Tony Buzbee.
And I think that now we are ready to begin with our first question. And for this very first one, I'm coming to you, Mr. Boykins. If elected, what would be your most urgent priority?
Thank you for having me, first of all. And let me just say it was an honor today to be able to spend some time with the Lovell family that we lost the sheriff this weekend. And I think it was good that the city came to support their family. But as the mayor, the first thing we will do within the first 60 days is what Mayor Turner has decided not to do. And that's to bring a collective bargaining contract together between Houston Police Department and Houston Fire Department. The voters passed this November the 6th, 2018. To date, we still have not come to terms with the agreement. And it's been excuses after excuses. So the first thing we'll do is bring all the parties together with the city attorney that will be appointed, and we will be able to handle this contract immediately.
That is time. I now go to you, Mr. King.
It's an important issue. Yeah, it's unquestionably the finances. The finances were a mess 4 years ago when I ran. They're much worse now than they were then. We just finished a fiscal year that we had an operating deficit in the of $435 million. It's the largest deficit in the operating fund in the city's history. This is unsustainable. And I know that when I talk about finances, a lot of people's eyes kind of roll back in their head, but this affects everything. It's the reason we have such crummy streets. It's the reason we can't get any flood work done. It's the reason that we don't have police officers, is because our finances are fundamentally being mismanaged. Sylvester and I were on stage many, many times last time, and both of us promised we would do zero-based budgeting to really go through this budget, scrub it down, and decide exactly what needs to be done. 4 years later, we still do not have zero-based budgeting. Expenses are up $650 million in the last 4 years. We've got to get the finances fixed.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mayor Sylvester Turner, it's up to you.
Number one would be mitigating the risk of flooding. We faced 3 500-year storms recently, the Tax Day flood, Hurricane Harvey, and just a few weeks ago, Imelda. People's homes have been flooding 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It has to be a top priority, and that's why we've been working very closely with the federal government, with our state partners, with the local partners to address this issue. And I'm proud to say we're making some progress on that end. Kingwood, for example, we're putting in 10 gates in Kingwood. That project has already been approved. Inwood Forest, we're going to take 229 of those acres and turn it into a major detention basin. That project has already been approved for funding. We're working on West Houston to do the same. The North Canal project, we're expecting a favorable ruling in this month, the month of October. Secondly, public safety is critically important. And 3, traffic. More people coming into the area, we got to move them from point A to point B.
Thank you, Mayor. Candidate Lovell, we go to you next.
Thank you. First, thank you to Channel 13 and Univision for hosting this debate tonight. And of course, today is a sad day for our city. All our hearts go out to our officer that we lost today. Mine would be, again, the budget, as Mr. King spoke about. If our budget is not in order, we cannot move forward in facing any of the other big issues that we need to deal with. You can talk about dealing with the flooding issue now, but if your finances aren't in order, you're not going to be able to move forward. And when we do that and get the budget in order, we can deal with the flooding issue. We have a horrible traffic issue. We all know we have a bad pothole and bad street issues. We can't move forward and take care of any of those issues unless we know that our financial house is in order. So that would be my priority. We would go to zero-based budgeting. We would ask our department heads to go through their budgets, and we would start fixing our other problems, knowing that we have our finances are healthy and in order.
That is time. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Candidate Buzbee, you have the floor.
We're not going to be able to fix anything in the city of Houston if we don't stop the corruption that exists at City Hall. We can't. I mean, I'd like to tell you we're going to fix the streets, we're going to do something about flooding for the next storm, or help the people that were devastated from the last storm. or put more police on the streets or pay the firefighters in a fair way. But when we see stories that come out, like the one that came out a day and a half ago, where we have a mayor that creates a position for an intern, we don't know why he did this, $95,000 for an intern, we have a problem. The city of Houston and City Hall is for sale. And it's interesting to me that we want to talk about all these major issues that ail us, and they are holding us back, flooding being a huge one, and of course, the state of HISD being another one that's the impediment to grow in our city, and we have a city hall that's for sale. We've got to do better.
All right, thank you. And Mayor Turner, the city of Houston and firefighters.
So we had an opportunity to settle this very easily in 2017. The firefighters offered to go to a binding arbitration. The cost, by the way, the cost of Proposition B was about $80 million. The firefighters consistently said they would spread that over a 3 to 5 year period. That's about $20 million a year, which frankly is hardly a rounding error on this budget. It was never the catastrophe that Sylvester said it was going to be. This was an intentional dumpster fire that he set to distract from the fact that he's running a $400+ million operating deficit. That's the real problem. If we had agreed to go to binding arbitration back in 2017, I think the firefighters were at 24 and he was at 4 or something like that. The arbitrator would have split the difference. We would have had a 10 or 12% raise. We would have never had Proposition B. We'd never had the election. We'd never had all the lawsuits. We'd never had the $1 million in legal fees. And we would not have a city that's divided in our public safety sector.
Mayor Turner.
Facts do matter. Let me just say in 2018, I had to negotiate with all 3 employee groups. Our municipal workers came to the table. They're getting 6% over 3 years. Our police officers came to the table. They're getting 7% over 2 years. With respect to the firefighters, I offered them 9.5%.
You did.
9.5%.
Most certainly did not.
And let me just say this. You have to stay within your means. They're talking about financial capability and financial and stability. You cannot pay more than what you exceed. Do they deserve a pay raise? Absolutely. But a pay raise that the city can afford to pay.
Can I get another rebuttal here? Because what he said was absolutely not true.
At the end, when everyone answers, we'll give you a chance to rebuttal.
Okay.
Ms. Lovell.
Thank you. So you're right, the facts do matter. Here's a fact. The voters voted 60-40 for Prop B, that there should be pay parity, and it's been ignored. That's a fact. You, the voters, the most base of democratic actions you can take as a citizen is to sign a petition to have your government do something and honor that commitment. 60-40, and this mayor has decided not to honor that commitment. That's wrong. Now, this could be settled with the firefighters. If I was your mayor, I can sit down with the firefighters and, hey, my oldest son is a firefighter paramedic. I could sit down with the firefighters right now and we could come to an agreement and we could settle this and we could move forward. But again, when voters speak, a mayor must listen and must listen to the wishes of the voter and move forward.
Mr. King. Mr. Buzbee, sorry.
Thank you. It is interesting to me when our current mayor says facts matter, when then he spins all facts and pretends there's something different. Listen, 298,000 people voted to give the firefighters a raise. What the mayor did after fighting that election, he immediately hired his old law firm, incidentally, one of his largest donors, to create a lawsuit to fight the firefighters in court. And as a practical issue, lay aside whether you think pay parity is a smart idea or not a smart idea. We're losing firefighters every single day. We're spending millions training firefighters in our cadet classes, and once they get in their fire station, they're going elsewhere because they get paid more. When we talk about this election, I hope you will remember this. This is about trust. Who do you trust? The firefighters do not trust this mayor. I don't trust this mayor, and I would respectfully suggest you not trust him either.
Right. Mr. King, we want to give you your rebuttal time.
Yeah,
on the mayor's take on the problem.
so what Sylvester never explained is why he didn't go to the binding arbitration in 2017. If he had gone to the binding arbitration in 2017, this would have been settled. The firefighters had not had a raise since 2011. If they just got cost of living between 2011 and 2017, that would have been a 10 or 12% raise. That's what would have happened at the binding arbitration. The only reason we're in this mess today is because he was hard-headed and would not go to binding arbitration and get this issue resolved with the firefighters.
All right, I'll give you a chance. You had something to say as well, too.
Yeah, let me just say, first of all, I have an opportunity to sit at the council table. I've been there 6 years, and this is a personal attack against the fire department by Mayor Turner. There's no reason we should be in this position. It's personal. The voters passed on November the 6th of 2018, almost a 3-to-1 margin, that they wanted us, as members of the city council, to figure out a way to make pay parity reality. And the mayor immediately went to overturn your vote. We don't have the right to do that. We're public servants, and we can never, ever lose focus of why we're down there.
All right, thank you. We want to move on to our next question. Of course, voters and our viewers, they talk about this issue a lot involving flooding. The question is, it's been more than 2 years since Hurricane Harvey. The city has received more than $4 billion federal dollars to help flood victims, but as of August 28th, out of the nearly 5,000 who were invited to apply for that help, only 15 Houston families have actually received aid. How would you expedite getting money to those flood victims? Mayor Turner, I'll start with you.
Well, the question, Chauncey, is not correct. The city hasn't received $4 billion. The city has only received $1.3 billion for home repair and recovery. And we are moving through that process. You have to do two things. You have to first determine eligibility, who owns the home and what's their income. And then you have to do an environmental site inspection on every single property, testing for lead and asbestos. That takes about 45 days. And we are moving through that process. Over 75 homes have now cleared through GLO. Over 50 homes are being repaired or they've received their reimbursement check. So that's not true in terms of $4 billion. The $4.5 billion that have been approved by HUD, that was just approved about a month ago. And now GLO, the state, has to put forth their state correction plan, and the commissioner said that's going to take about 9 months. It will not be until next summer before the city has available those mitigation infrastructure dollars coming from HUD at the federal level for the city of Houston.
Gotcha. All right. And the question is, how would you expedite getting that money that we have received from federal dollars? How would you expedite getting that money to the victims? We want to go on to Lovell.
Yes, you should have stuck with the first number, Mayor, $4 million. 1.3 is fine, but not enough. So I have experience actually with this. When I hit Houston Galveston, I was brought on to do the replacement of that public housing in Galveston, in a city that was not very receptive to replacing their public housing. And we went out and we worked with the government, we worked with GLO, and within this amount of time, we had received our funds, and we had started moving through rebuilding what is mixed income housing for market rate, workforce, and then the people in public housing. In this amount of time, we were on the ground and starting to build. As your mayor, I have experience and I know how to do this, and I did it in a town that really didn't want that population to return. I know how to do this, we can do this, I will get it done, and I know how to work with Washington to get it to happen.
Mr. Buzbee.
Thank you, Chauncey. I've built more structures than anybody on this stage times 50. And let me just say this, for this mayor to say, oh, it's not $4 billion, it's 1.18, but the number remains the same, it's 15 people have been helped, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You know, we could build a house literally in 45 days. I've built homes in 45 days. For this mayor to say, oh, we're doing this and we're doing that, this is an issue, let's be clear. We have an issue of character, which we're going to talk about. We also have an issue of competence. Do you know that the outfits that were hired to do the residential rebuild were one of the most major donors of this mayor? They've done nothing. They've received millions. We've got to clean up City Hall. We've got to do better.
Councilman Boykins.
Thank you. Let me just talk a little bit about what I would do if I was the mayor. When you look at, we can point the finger at FEMA, GLO, state of Texas, but what you should look at ways of thinking outside the box, Chauncey, to address. So you have 25 homes in two and a half year period that have been put back together. These families are suffering. So what I would have done as a former banker, I would have called in all the CEOs of banks in Houston and asked the bankers would they consider taking that note, dividing that money up. It's a great note coming from, a great loan coming from the federal government. You know you'll get repaid. Get you some basis points on that, and let's get this money on the streets. That's real leadership. You have to think out of the box. You can continue to blame FEMA, you can blame GLO, but what will you do? It's our responsibility as leaders. So banks would take those notes. I've talked to bank presidents, and that would have been a great loan for them. How do you tell the families that are suffering 2 years later, still living in shelters that, you know, help is on the way and we're gonna blame the GLO? You can't do that as a leader.
And now we would like to continue on
I didn't get to respond to that. Everybody else did. May I?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So let's first of all, let's get the numbers right. The city's actually received about $450 million in cash. Of that, less than $300 million has been spent on recovery. In addition, as of December, we had available $1.3 billion to help people repair their houses, and only a fraction of that has been spent. Now, all the requirements that Sylvester talked about are true. We have to get asbestos, we have to get mechanical, but we knew all that years ago. The fact that we're just doing that now as opposed to getting ready and doing that before we got the money here in December is the reason we have the delay right now. This is the fixin' to mayor. I'm fixing to do this. I'm fixing to put gates in Kingwood. I'm fixing to do an Inwood project. You know, this is 4 years. It's time to have done something, not be planning to do something.
No.
Yeah,
Let me just say this.
each of us.
It does not even work that way. You first have to wait until the feds approve the program.
You can absolutely do the asbestos before
you can have the
Mayor Turner,
inspectors ready to go before you get the money.
Excuse me, Mayor Turner, you have 30 seconds for your rebuttal.
Doesn't work that way. First, you have to wait for the feds to approve the program, and then the state has to provide the correct state action plan. It's a reimbursement program. The money did not become available until January of this year. You have to take people through the eligibility program. You have to do the environmental site inspections. You then have to send the files to the state before you can move forward.
Mayor Turner, that is time.
Chauncey,
We would like to continue on this topic. We would like to continue on this same topic of flooding, but the next question is, 2 weeks ago during Imelda, different areas of the city flooded that had never flooded before. What is your plan to prepare for big rain events? And this time, Ms. Sue Lovell, you have the floor.
Well, first, we have to realize that these big events that come off of the storms are here to stay. It's a pattern. And we have to accept that and plan for it. And we need to quit being reactive and be proactive now and plan for the worst case scenario. And we haven't done that. And the time to start that is now, to make sure that we have in place the proper draining that we need, and it's our neighborhoods that get hit with this, the brunt of this. To make sure that in the neighborhoods that have the worst problems, and we don't have a flooding problem, we have a drainage problem. To go out into those neighborhoods and make sure that their drainage issues are taken care of so the water can properly drain off. And then for us to also work with the county government who has bond funding, who I understand we have not moved forward with in some of their plans. And it has to be a regional approach is how we do this. But the first thing of order is to go out into the neighborhoods, take an assessment of what is needed to be done.
Thank you. Mr. Buzbee?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me for a 30-year politician to complain about bureaucracy that he created, that he's a part of and has been a part of. And he talks about, let's help the people that got crushed by Harvey, which we haven't done anything for them. And what's worse, we've done nothing to help the people prepare for the next storm, whether it be the tropical storm Imelda, where we dropped 43 inches. First off, we pay a drainage fee. 100% of the drainage fee should be spent on drainage projects. That's not what's happening now. We have a super neighborhood concept in the city of Houston. There's 88 super neighborhoods, about 50 of which, because of this mayor and his predecessor, to be honest, are not really active. There are small projects that we can do because it's a pay-as-you-go concept to deal with these small drainage areas to mitigate this flooding that crushes people every time there's a heavy rain. Do you need a politician, another politician, or do you need a problem solver? I would suggest we need a problem solver.
Thank you, Mr. Buzbee. Mr. Boykins?
Thank you. Let me correct Tony on something. 100% of the Rebuild Houston money it's illegal to be used for drainage. I was on the original, one of the original members on that committee. But let me say this real quick. I've made it very clear. As your mayor, I will focus on your neighborhoods. If you look at the end of your streets today, you have inlets on each corner. As mayor, we will reevaluate every concrete street with curb and gutters and add 2 additional inlets on each side of your street. We'll also take community parks and turn them into multi-purpose parks. Dig them down. When it's hot, when it's dry, you can use it as a park. When it's raining, it can become a detention for your community. Those are just projects you can do thinking outside of the box, and to make certain that you focus on neighborhoods not being drained on and less more so on major thoroughfares. And I think this is what needs to happen. People continue to get their homes flooded regardless of how hard the rain is. We need to do something about that immediately.
Mr. King?
So I flooded 3 times in my life. The first time when I was 10 years old in Hurricane Carla down in Kemah. I know what a terrible experience this is. Not only is it a personal tragedy, it's really beginning to damage our brand. All over the country, people are talking about Houston flooding problems. Look, we live on a big flat coastal plain. It rains a lot here. It's probably going to be raining more in the future. We undersized all of our infrastructure. We built it on the cheap. We didn't maintain what we built, and we didn't require enough detention for all the concrete we're being poured. That's why it floods here. This is not rocket science. We recognized this back in 2011, and we agreed to a new tax on ourselves called the drainage fee. It brings in $110 million a year. The city's collected almost $1 billion of drainage fees since then. Ever since we started that, only about half that money has been spent on drainage. In the 2015 campaign, Sylvester and I both recognized this, conceded it, and both of us promised we were going to spend all of that money on drainage in the future. We have continued to only spend about half of that on drainage. Now, Dwight, I'm sorry, it's not illegal. You can do it, and we need to do it. Spend the drainage fee on drainage.
Thank you, Mayor Turner.
Drainage and streets are a part of our drainage policy, and we spend all of the dollars on drainage and streets. We have doubled the number of drainage projects in every city council districts. With respect to Kingwood, the project to add 10 gates in Kingwood, that project has been approved and is now fully funded. The major detention project in the Inwood area, that project has been approved and the funding is available. Project Braves, the construction to finish that is already on the way. With respect to Willow Water Hose in the Westbury area, the city is purchasing the Old Shell Research Facility, closing in the month of October this month, adding another 13 acres of detention to Willow Water Hole. The people in Westbury are excited about that. With respect to the North Canal Project, down at I-45, close to downtown, Little White Oak, we are expecting FEMA to approve that project this month. That will take that entire area out of the floodplain. We are imposing a green infrastructure project. We are moving. Things are happening in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Boykins. You would like to
use this rebuttal? I'm not going to rebuttal the mayor. I just want to make certain the mayor is very clear those are not his projects. Yeah. Those are federal projects. Those are county projects. Now, I can rattle off all the projects that's going on and take credit for them. I think it's important we talk about how to make these neighborhood streets safe, add additional inlets to make certain water drain properly. We can talk about projects that we as the city can do. There are things we can do. We can work with the federal government and with Harris County, Corps of Engineers, but I'm not going to sit up here and take credit like all this is what we're doing at the city.
Hey,
and
thank you, Mr. Boykins. That is time.
Dwight mentioned me. I think I get to respond. Remember?
I don't think I did.
He did mention me. I mean, I know I'm way down here, but he did said I was wrong, and I think I'm entitled to talk about that.
We would like to move on to the next question.
I know you would, but you've let them have rebuttals. I'd like to respond to saying I'm wrong.
All right, we would like to give you now the time then to give a response.
All right, and I appreciate that. I know I'm way down here, but you've let several rebuttals, and I think when somebody says I'm wrong, let me say this. Like most career politicians, Sylvester Turner takes credit for things that he has nothing to do with, and then for things that he's directly responsible for, he ignores and makes excuses about or lies about. When we talk about the drainage fee, guys, if you're watching this TV, I want you to know the drainage fee is about $110 million a year.
Yes.
Where is the transparency of how that money's being spent? Not only this year, but the last 9 years. That's
Thank you,
the
Mr.
question.
Buzbee. That is time. We will now move on to the next subject, which is crime. I know we want to get to everybody on these topics. So the question is, everyone on the stage except Mayor Turner says crime is worse than ever in Houston, but FBI crime statistics show the number of murders, robberies, and burglaries have dropped since 2015. Why do you think crime is so bad in Houston? And this time, Mr. Buzbee, you have the floor
Thank you.
first.
I'm going to tell you why I know crime is worse in Houston than it has been previously. Because I've knocked on 140,000 doors. Because I've met 25,000 people. Because I know that HPD crime stats, they want to reference 30-year-ago crime stats. And I know HPD turns in its stats to the FBI. I know that a smash and grab, when they break your window and they take your computer, cops don't show up and it doesn't get reported. When somebody steals your package off your front porch, it doesn't get reported. I know that there were multiple crimes in Memorial last night, that none of which were reported. So when you have a mayor who wants to rely on stale FBI statistics, I know where those came from. There's 23,000 documented gang members in the city of Houston. Even this mayor's police chief says that we have an ongoing gang war in the city of Houston. We should be talking about this and doing something about it.
Thank you, Mr. Boykins.
You know, you tell those family members that have lost a loved one due to crime that crime stats are down. As the mayor of the city, one thing I can promise you, I will never respond to that question and brag that the numbers are down. What I will say, we will always have to do better until we get to zero. But my plan is very simple. I'll bring it to the neighborhoods. As the mayor of the city of Houston, I'll create a 30-30 plan. And that will be that police officers that live within the city of Houston, which is roughly 1,200 out of 52, will be able to take their patrol cars home. But they would have patrolling within their neighborhood 30 minutes before they go to work and 30 minutes when they return, but they must place that car in the driveway. That would have an immediate impact with the 5,200 officers we have in the city of Houston. So we don't have to continue to talk about how much money and how many more cadet classes we need. We need to talk about what we can work with what we have. And as your mayor, I'll make certain we implement a community policing program. And I'm also grateful that Mayor Lee Brown, who created the program, is supporting my campaign.
That is time. Thank you, Mr. King.
So I've been tracking the crime stats since 2000, and let me correct something that you said. The FBI crime statistics and what I've said shows that violent crime is up in the first 2 years of this administration. By the way, those are the only FBI stats we have right now, are 2016 and 2017. And 2017 violent crime was 16.4% higher than it was in 2015. This is after a long decline in violent crime. It's the first uptick that we've had. Now, there has been some preliminary data released to suggest that it came down some in 2018, but we do not have the official FBI statistics for 2018. The only official numbers we have show that violent crime is up by 16.4% in the first 2 years of this administration.
Mr. Turner, or Mayor Turner.
The Chronicle did a detailed analysis on this recently, and based on what the Chronicle said as it relates to these two gentlemen, said that they are distorting the facts and misleading voters. Now, if it's one crime too many. But if the facts are going, if the crime rates, the numbers are going down in most categories, those are the facts. In fact, we're in like a 30-year low across the country when it comes to crime. But let me tell you what we have been doing. In every single year that I've been mayor, we have put in place 5 cadet classes, funding them fully. Since I have been mayor, we've added 200 police officers over and above the number when I came in. We're now at 5,300. We need about another 600, and we are moving in that direction. We are working in communities that have been underserved and under-resourced to improve the conditions and provide people with jobs, because it's not just police and law enforcement. It's the community working with law enforcement to make a safe community. And I'm proud of the direction in which we are going.
Mrs. Sue Lovell.
When you ask the district attorney's office about their intake, they will tell you that crime is up because their intakes are up. So crime is up. Everybody knows crime's up who has been the victim of petty crime, which is rampant in this city. And when you call and say, my car was broken into, something was stolen, you're told you can go online and fill out a form or something else. You don't have an officer that comes to visit with you, or quite frankly, that you think is taking you seriously. And it's serious business to our people and our neighbors when their cars are broken into. It takes away their safety. It makes them feel unsafe that somebody is going through their car, stealing their packages. You know, the only time I see any police officers come through my neighborhood is when they're going from one place to another. My idea of good policing to keep crime down is to have police officers in your neighborhood doing neighborhood policing, police that you know and you can talk to.
All right, we want to move on to our next question. This is still involving crime and policing. We're going to start with Councilman Dwight Boykins here with this question. Now, the city was left stunned as we watched dishonesty within HPD unfold in those Harding Street raids. Now, how do you restore the public's trust in HPD and its investigators, and do you believe police need more policing? Start with you, Councilman.
Absolutely. The first thing we will do is replace the police chief. We will get a chief within the ranks of the Houston Police Department that I think is more focused on neighborhood issues and less focused on, I call it Hollywood and the TV camera. Because I think it's important that people feel that they have confidence and trust in the police officers. And when you look at what happened on Harding Street, you talk about a situation where I was at the hospital, the mayor was there, and we were all pretty much rushed to judgment in terms of assuming that someone else had taken the lives of these two individuals. So I felt bad that I was given bad information. I think it's time to find leadership that's going to focus on these neighborhood issues, and along with the program, I'm going to implement the 30-30 in terms of bringing patrol cars home to deal with the crime in our community.
Mr. King.
First of all, let me say, tomorrow I'm going to put my website the FBI statistics that show that in 2017 we had 25,683 violent crimes, and then in 2015 we had 21,938 violent crimes. And if Sylvester or the Houston Chronicle has different FBI statistics, I would invite you to put that up on the website. With respect to the Harding Street raid, this is a lack of supervision and management. What we found out is that most cities around the country have either banned no-knock raids completely or they have very strict controls. We had not banned them and we had no controls. We still had municipal judges signing off on no-knock raids. Nobody in the country does this. This is the problem with this administration. We're not managing these departments. We should have known that this was out of step with the rest of the country and we wouldn't have had this tragedy. Mayor Turner.
Chief Acevedo and his command staff and the 5,300 police officers on our force are doing an outstanding job, covering 640 square miles. And these police officers are putting their lives on the line every single day. And I'm very, very proud of each and every one of them. Now, do mistakes happen? Absolutely. And when those mistakes happen, or when things are done that's contrary to policy and procedure and practices, you call people on the carpet and you hold them accountable. And that's why we've had no problems cooperating with the Harris County District Attorney's Office, cooperating with the FBI, inviting people to come in and look at every single file. The Police Department of the City of Houston, we have turned over thousands of files to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. When somebody goes astray, we're not trying to circle the wagons and protect them. We hold them accountable. But let's not disparage the entire force and the 99% of police officers who are doing an astounding job every single day. And I will not apologize for them.
Either, Johnson. Let's be clear about that.
Ms. Lovell.
Thank you. Let's be clear.
Nobody.
Our two fellow citizens were murdered sitting in their own home. The mayor brought up the district attorney's office. The district attorney determined that it was a raid that was not proper. She indicted the police officer. She said he had no reason to be there, and because of that, he was indicted and arrested for murder. That's clear. That's the facts. She apologized to the family, as I was so proud to hear her do. Here's another fact. Our chief of police keeps saying they had probable cause to be at that house. Now, the DA says no and did an indictment and arrested and is moving forward. Our police chief says, oh, no, we had probable cause to be there, and is still defending the actions. Mayor, who do you believe? The district attorney or the police chief? But it can't be both ways.
Mr. Buzbee.
Yeah, like a typical politician, Mayor Turner wants to make this us against the police. I'm a Marine Corps captain. I love the police. My sister's husband's with HPD, been there for more than 20 years. For him to stand up here and talk about trying to say if you're against what happened there, you're against the police, that's exactly what's wrong. That is exactly the kind of politics that is ruining this city. There's a systemic issue within the Houston Police Department that would allow that to happen. A no-knock raid with somebody in plain clothes who knocks down your door, shoots your dog, shoots your wife, and then shoots you and kills you. And then the police chief says, we were here for a reason, when we now all know now that the lies that were told in that affidavit were told to a municipal judge appointed by this mayor. Take responsibility. How about have the mayor and the police chief apologize to this family? And when you say, quote, mistakes happen, it ain't a mistake. You killed 2 people. It's a lot bigger than a little mistake. Right, we can do a lot better than that.
Gotcha. All right, we want to go on to our next topic. We want to start with you, Mr. King. This is on education. With the state takeover looming right now, how would you fix HISD?
Well, of course, the city has very little responsibility for HISD. There's an independent school board. I do not think that the city of Houston ought to be trying to take over the schools. I don't think that the mayor ought to be setting up charter schools to take over. We've got enough things to do. Look, we only solve 6% of our burglaries. Once we start solving more than 6% of those, maybe we'll think about doing something else. But in Texas, we have independent school boards for a reason. We obviously have one that's broken at HISD. We've got elections coming up. I hope everybody will go vote in those elections. Frankly, the turnout in HISD elections is abysmal. One trustee got elected in the last election with a 4% voter turnout. It's incredibly important for you to go out and make sure you elect responsible members at HISD. The city's responsibility with respect to the school districts, and by the way, there's actually 7 school districts that are within the city of Houston. Our responsibility is to support those school districts, to make sure that there's good lighting, there's streets, that the police are patrolling those areas. Our job is to support them, not to take over and try to run the schools as happened in this administration, or attempted to.
Mayor Turner.
And no one is trying to take over any school district. But as the mayor of the city of Houston, we do have a responsibility to work for every single kid that's in our city, and to see that they get everything that they are deserving of. It is important for the city to work with every school district. It is important for us to look at those schools that were not performing as well, and to see how we can partner with the school district in order to enhance those schools, to work with the community, the parents, the teachers, to be in these classrooms as the mayor of this city, and to let these kids know that you can come from a neighborhood like the one I grew up in, and you can still grow up to be a mayor. We do have the responsibility of being good mentors and helping to provide resources that can assist any school and every school to improve. You can't have a dynamic city without having a good quality educational system. Now, with regards to the governance, that's one issue. But however it turns out, the city has a responsibility to work for our kids.
It's time, Mayor. Ms. Lovell.
As I said before, Prop B, the voters voted, and you must honor their vote. I honor the vote of the people that elected their school boards members, even if I didn't agree. I'm opposed to the takeover because I believe we have the right to vote for and have our own representatives. My children went to HISD. My granddaughter's going to HISD. And I believe that the majority of HIS schools are wonderful with good principals and teachers, and their students are learning. Because we have failure of a couple of schools should not stain the reputation and make a school district bad. What we have is a responsibility, and as mayor, is to be a partner and find out how we can help those failing schools have schools that are just as up to par as the schools that are doing well. And you have a bully pulpit as the mayor, and you use that bully pulpit to make it happen.
Mr. Buzbee.
Yeah, I'm a product of public school as well. My mother worked in my high school cafeteria and drove our school bus. All 4 kids in my family, we graduated from public school, a 2A school, very small, much smaller than HISD. Look, HISD, and there are other school districts in Houston, but HISD and the city of Houston, we're joined at the hip. I mean, if HISD fails or has a bad perception then Houston fails and has a bad perception. So we have to do everything we can as an administration to help HISD. That's not suggesting that we try to, we know more than you, we're going to take you over, because you are autonomous and you have your own governing body. But there's a lot of things that the city can do to help HISD. And let's not forget, most young families who have young children that are deciding where they're going to live, they make that decision based on schools. That's the number one consideration. And so we have to make sure HISD is serving the citizens and residents of the city of Houston. And that's going to be my primary mission, because that
Texas Southern University, and I'm just grateful what education has done in my life. It qualified me to be prepared to marry my beautiful wife of 30 years. Thank you so much for that. Let me tell you, as a city, we must be able to work closer with our school system. But my primary focus won't be so much of that. It will be to make certain we get drainage corrected in residential neighborhoods, crime down in our neighborhoods, make certain the men and women of the Houston Fire Department and Police Department know that we're not putting them against one another. We're working together to do what the voters in this city has mandated for the elected officials to do. When I decided to run for mayor, it was very clear for me. God ordained all of us with different skills and talents. The book of Matthew talks about being a servant. My wife and I, that's all we are. We serve people. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. I serve people. And that's what my calling is. And I can tell you this, we'll make certain we have the best school system with the help of the city behind them. Thank you.
For this question, I would like us to focus on immigrants and minorities. The data that will be collected in the 2020 census ensures equal representation and access to governmental resources. However, historically, certain groups have been underrepresented. How will you make sure that every person and every household is accounted for? Mayor?
The city of Houston has already contracted with Negretti consulting firm. It's a Hispanic firm, specifically on the census. And we have already gotten started to work with other stakeholder groups, working with the Houston Endowment and others, to make sure that every single person in our city is counted. We're also working in collaboration with the county, with Judge Lena Hidalgo, the county commissioners, and others, because it's a joint effort. Every single person that we fail to count or to assist in the census, the city of Houston stands to lose about $1,500. So it's important. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your language is or your ethnicity. It's important for us to count everyone. Now, with all of what we're hearing, for example, on the federal level, and with people being somewhat scared to fill out the forms or go online or respond to people at the door, it's important that we work with the various stakeholders and community groups in these communities, diverse communities, to ensure that we have a maximum response to the census.
Thank you, Mayor. Mrs. Lovell?
Yes, it is important because federal dollars flow. Redistricting is impacted. We'll have redistricting next year. So as your mayor, I would first work with the groups in the neighborhoods for them to get the word out that it is extremely important for everybody to be counted, and that you can feel safe and secure that if you fill out that census data, nothing bad will happen to you. And if we lay that groundwork of people feeling secure and safe and understanding those dollars go to clinics that help their children, those dollars go to help their neighborhood, those dollars go to make sure they have equal representation when redistricting has, then I believe we can have a good census. But the tone must come from the top, from the mayor, working with people in neighborhoods to let people know they can be honest and open and fill out the data so we can get the money and their lives can be better and they can have districts where they have people that look like them representing them.
Thank you. Mr. Buzbee?
Yeah, I don't see people as another $1,500. That's not the way I look at it. What I want is Houston to be bigger than Chicago. That's what I want, because I think Houston is bigger than Chicago if everybody gets counted. Politicians, career politicians, they look at every single person as a dollar figure. I look at every single person as a person. What can they do to make this city better? That's what I'm focused on. We talk about in the city of Houston, we're the most diverse city in the country. But do we really celebrate diversity? Look at the MWBE program in the city of Houston, where the Office of Business Opportunity individual just recently resigned because of my allegations that it's completely corrupt. It's completely corrupt. Look at the lawsuit that I filed where 279 minority-owned women business enterprises, names were used to get prime contracts and not one of which was ever even contacted. That happened under the mayor's watch. If
That
we're
is
going to
time,
talk
Mr.
about
Buzbee.
diversity, let's actually celebrate diversity in this city.
Thank you, Mr. Buzbee. Councilman.
Thank you, Claudia. The mayor is absolutely correct. The council, we approved a contract for a Hispanic firm to handle the census for us. For those who may not be aware, it's federal resources, a federal program to make certain we do as close to an accurate count because you have congressional seats with redistricting coming up. I also advocated to make certain that we had an African-American firm to partner with them to make certain that the diversity was real, because we know to get an accurate count, it's very important that that person feel comfortable on the other side of that door and answer that door to say, okay, I feel comfortable in giving you my confidential information. And so I will continue as mayor to support this initiative. I think we need to make certain we're prepared to move towards new congressional lines with the next legislature coming up. And it's important that we have a real count.
Thank you. Mr. King?
So I think we all agree that getting the best possible count is really important. It does mean federal dollars to the city, which is important. And frankly, I agree with what Sylvester and council have done on hiring the firm to do that. And I commend you for having done that. I think it'll help with the count. But let me just say one thing about this redistricting issue. We're going to have to redistrict council after we get this census in. And we have a District E that we have two communities are separated by almost 30 miles in the same district. It is ridiculous. Those absolutely need to be split. I think that to maintain the diversity on city council, we'll probably need to add a couple more single-member districts. But I will absolutely not support a redistricting plan that puts Clear Lake and Kingwood in the same council district anymore.
And Mayor Turner, I'll give you a chance to rebuttal what Mr. Buzbee said about those city contracts.
And I really didn't want to go here, but since you're talking about public corruption, in Galveston, federal judge Sam Kent, there was a federal judge that removed all 85 of your cases from Judge Kent because of corruption or conflicts, all 85 of them. Now, what was he doing for you? And what were you doing for him? For all of those cases to be removed. Anytime people start talking about corruption, take a look in the mirror. They may be talking about themselves.
Mayor Turner, thank you so much for this.
Maybe I should respond to that.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
We'll give you 30 seconds
Maybe I
for
should.
last rebuttal.
I was a first-year lawyer. He's talking about somebody that had nothing to do with a first-year lawyer. This is how I got a call today from a PI that said, I got contacted by the Turner campaign. They're so desperate. They're so desperate because they're losing. They're so desperate, they're looking for anything. And they're going to go back to when you were a first-year lawyer and talk about what you did when you were a water behind the ears lawyer, and ignore the $95,000 intern that we're all talking about on TV right now. We're going to do better than that.
All right, thanks, Mr.
A lot better.
Thank you. All right, well, that wraps up the question portion of our debate tonight. At this time, each candidate will give their 1-minute closing statement.
And the candidates drew for that order. And Councilman Boykins, it looks like you are first.
Thank you, Chauncey. Thank you, Claudia. You know, it's time for real leadership in this city. I've had an opportunity to serve on the Houston City Council for 6 years, and I'm grateful the residents of District D gave me this opportunity. I also want to say that it's important that we bring honesty and trustworthy to the next city council, the next mayor's seat. I think as we've gone through I've had an opportunity to serve with Mayor Nice Park and now with Mayor Turner, and I just don't see the honesty and the trustworthy in terms of how we're running this government. You know, Janora and I have been married 30 years. And as I mentioned earlier, God gives everyone, I believe, a gift. We were not blessed with children. But I do know this, that God has put something in us to be able to bless others. And that's what we do. We're public servants. We serve this community. And as your mayor, I can promise you, if you help me talk my wife into becoming a dollar-a-year person, that we will work together to make this a better city for all. Thank you.
All right. Our second candidate in closing statements, Sue Lovell.
Thank you, and thank you again for hosting. You know, I'm a proven, experienced leader. I was on city council for 6 years. I have a record of service. You know, I think what people want to know is, why did you decide to run? And I decided to run because I believe we need leadership and a change. We're being reactive and proactive. But as I started to run, I of course talked to my family. Now, all of you know, my children have been drug around through campaign, and they told me, Mom, you were so happy, you were so good, so effective. You lost and you won, but you work for this city. So what are you going to tell your grandchildren if you decide not to run? What will you tell them? And I couldn't answer that. So I went home, told my granddaughter that I'm raising, that I'm running for mayor. She went to school the next day, walked in and said, my grandma and I are running for mayor and we're going to fix this city. So I would like for you to send me and my granddaughter to City Hall and let us fix this city.
Thank you. Thank you.
Candidate Bill King, your closing statement.
Thank you. You know, we've become cynical about government. Things just don't seem to work anymore, and especially you look at the last 4 years. The streets are still a mess. We're still flooding. And I want to challenge you to imagine that we can do better than this. I want you to imagine a city where we drove on smooth streets, where families went to bed every night on a stormy night and didn't worry about water rushing into their house, where the police actually patrolled your neighborhood, where the trash is picked up on time, where we have a city that has a balanced budget that's not coming back and constantly hitting you up for more fees and taxes, where contracts and jobs are awarded on merit and not based on who you know down at City Hall or a campaign contribution. Many of you will remember how close I came to winning this election last time. If you all help me get over that hump this time, I promise you, you won't just have to imagine that city, you'll be living in it.
Great. Mr. Tony Buzbee.
Thank you, Chauncey. This is a two-person race. Every poll shows it. And we're standing at a crossroads. Are we going to be the city that we all hope we could be? The city that we aspire to be? The city that we know we could be? Are we going to be the city that we are a little bit afraid we're rapidly becoming under the current leadership? Look, I'm not a career politician. I haven't not been in the legislature for 27 years. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have any cronies or donors. I'm not taking campaign donations, and I'm not even going to take the salary. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure this city is back in the national conversation. Because right now, people outside this city, they don't have a lot of good things to say about the city of Houston. We can do better. I'm a butcher's son and a school bus driver's son. But I want to be the mayor of Houston, and I hope you will support me. I'm asking you for your vote.
And finally, Mayor Turner.
Thank you. I am so proud of this city. This has always been a can-do city. 4 years ago, when I came into office, the pension debt was $8.2 billion, costing the city $1 million a day. All three credit rating agencies had given us a thumbs down. But together, we came together. 4 years later, that $8.2 billion unfunded liability is now $4.03 and going down. No longer $1 million a day. All three credit rating agencies have given us a thumbs up. When I came in, we faced the greatest budgetary debt in the city's history, $160 million. 5 months later, the entire city council unanimously approved that budget. The comptroller is obligated to certify a balanced budget. For 4 consecutive years, the comptroller has certified balanced budget. We're working on flooding. We're working on public safety. But anybody who tells you they can do it all in just 4 years, well, good luck.
All right, and that wraps up our debate. Give all of our candidates a big round of applause tonight. And of course, we would like to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight and also joining us now. And also all of our candidates, thank you all so much for being here for the first mayoral debate here in Houston.
And don't forget that Election Day is on Tuesday, November 5th. So from all of us at Univision 45
and ABC 13, have a great night, friends.
Thank you so much.